Welcome back, everybody, to the International Training Institute of Health Masterclass. And this is part 3, and this is breast cancer. Now understand something. Before we move forward, I want everybody to understand this, that the C in cancer stands for conflict, okay? Stands for contamination and corruption, all right? So what we're dealing with, if you take the C away, you're left with A-N-S-E-R. That does spell answer. And that leaves you with you. It's going to be always up to you. No matter what the cancer is, it's all up to you. And it all started off as a belief. It all started off as an emotion. And we're going to be able to prove that because we're going to be doing a show. And that show is going to lay out a study that was done. And it's going to show how every illness starts off as an emotion, and it starts off as a dysfunctional emotion that we don't understand, that's deep within the recesses of our subconscious. So understand something. In seeing that cancer is something that everybody's talking about today, oh, wait a minute, everybody's talking about it. The media is talking about it. The news is talking about it. And the more they talk about it, the more cancer we have. What did I just tell you? Everything starts off as thought form and then goes to physical form. Now, I will tell you this, that since 9/11, what pharmaceutical corporations, what the media and the government have found out is that the more that they talk about life-threatening situations and they bring more fear into the news and even onto commercials, onto the TV, in the radio, on the newspaper, on the web, they're able to increase their sales and disease is going up. Whether you want to believe this or not, every year since 9/11, they've been able to increase their sales by 20% minimum with pharmaceutical drugs in North America. All right, whether you want to believe this or not, every disease, since they started hiking up their advertising monies that they spend, every disease is on the rise as well. So understand something. The disease first starts in the mind with stinking thinking, and then it gets, from what we said was the invisible becomes the visible, okay? So we're going to talk about that today. We're going to talk about how when a person does hear that they have a diagnosis that is scary because they're scared, because they don't know that they can actually heal themselves and they've lost faith in that they created the universe and belief in themselves, what they do is they make really bad decisions and they think about only the worst outcome. And we know that whatever you think the most is going to get fed, and eventually it will become a monster and it will eat you.
Yeah, your thoughts are everything.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, as soon as the diagnosis comes, you have cancer. It's like, I have cancer. I'm got to get ready to die. Got to get my affairs in order. And then it's just feeding that whole belief that that one thing that that doctor said is going to completely control your life for the rest of the time.
And there's no other sector that gives life sentences or tells everybody how long they have.
Mm-hmm.
And they do it, and they only are able to do it because they take it statistically from the herd, from the majority. So break away from the herd today. Break away from the majority. Do something crazy and honor unconditional total self-love and create the perfect day by working in harmony with nature, and find out that you are no longer a statistic, all right? That you break all the rules because you now follow universal law. Let's talk about it.
And, you know, it is October, so Breast Cancer Awareness Month.
Mm-hmm.
But know what would be really cool is if we could get everybody, instead of supporting the Pink Ribbon and doing whatever they're doing to help support breast cancer awareness, why don't they start doing the perfect day? Start doing the 12 loving steps.
Yep.
Why don't they start massaging their breasts and loving their breasts and saying all these loving, wonderful words to themselves and telling them
make it
how
like
much
self-love
they love
awareness
them?
month.
Why are we doing that? Why are we running this hate program? And that's what it is. I hope you know. The cancer associations are hate programs, all right? Because everybody hates that they can't find the cure. Well, that's only because you're told that they can't find the cure.
There is
All
no
these
cure.
brilliant
It's just
minds, there's
another
no cure.
Another prescription.
Yeah, so you're just feeding, what did I say? A belief. Okay, the cancer cannot be cured. You're feeding a belief. The belief is can't be cured. Okay, the belief is all the greatest minds can't find the cure. So guess what? You're just an average statistical person. Why would you ever even find it? Well, because you don't have to find it. You are it.
And that's why they can't find it.
So let's do this. Let's don't wear a pink ribbon. Okay, let's get a love band, life band, and go 3, 2, 1. I got this. Whenever we have a negative feeling or emotion, because your subconscious can't count backwards, bring it into your conscious mind and change the whole story. Change your history. Okay.
Right. So we're going to talk about breast cancer now. So the medical cause of breast cancer, researchers have identified hormonal, lifestyle, and environmental factors that may increase your risk of breast cancer. Doctors believe that it is likely that breast cancer is caused by a complex interaction of your genetic makeup and your environment.
Okay, so it's complex, okay? It's really complex. All right.
Yeah. The treatment that they offer, so your medical doctor determines your route of treatment based on type, stage, grade, size, and whether the cancer cells are sensitive to hormones. Your doctor also considers overall health and your own preferences. Most women undergo surgery for breast cancer, and many also receive additional treatments after surgery, such as chemotherapy, hormone therapy, or radiation. For aftercare, regular follow-up screenings is part of the medical system's aftercare.
All right, so you're going to make the decisions you're going to make, and even if you decide to go the route of chemo, radiation, or surgery, why not honor, respect, and love yourself
By being on the perfect day.
Yeah, and embrace nature. Why can't you do both? Well, I can't ride 2 horses.
Yeah.
Well, you can't ride 2 horses because one program's based on self-love and the other one is not based on self-love. All right.
And one thing too, my aunt went through breast cancer and she did go the medical route, and I remember trying to help her with some natural things that she could do, suggesting that she takes some products and changing some things with her diet, and she brought that to her oncologist and they said, no, you can't do any of those things. And it was literally like, make sure you're eating lots of salads and smoothies and using moringa and utilizing curcumin cayenne and very just simple things, but they literally said no to all of it.
It's like when you go for chemo and radiation and you go and you're under their care, they tell you that antioxidants, are going to harm their therapy, and that's an out and out lie. I'll have anybody want to come and challenge me on my show, please come and do it. Okay? So understand that you can actually nurture yourself, look after yourself, and protect yourself. The chemo and the radiation are still going to do what they do, but at least you'll have something left after it's all done.
You have
And
higher vibrations if
yeah.
you're doing those things as
So-
opposed to following
But the medical corruption just goes so far. It's like you can't massage a tumor because you'll spread the cancer, but we can go in, cut it around it, cut it out, and have it and it won't spread that way. Like it just, there's no logic to it.
Yeah.
So the reality is if we lovingly go in and we start working around the area and then working around the boundary and start opening up the fibers, because you have to understand that a tumor,
It has its own circulatory system.
it has its own circulatory system. It's an entity unto itself.
Yeah.
in itself. And so, but the thing is, you're not going to take one small entity and spread that cancer throughout the whole body. So if we're working in slowly, lovingly, opening up that scar tissue mass of that tumor and bringing fresh blood in, it's changing
Oxygen, nutrition.
You're changing the structure of that tumor. The
actually
tumor's not
changing
changing the structure of the body.
It's all about the terrain. You're
Yeah,
changing the terrain
exactly.
of the actual cancer by allowing all those good things to come back in, so that the body's like, hey, wait, that's not supposed to be there.
Exactly.
Yeah, and the other thing is remember that it's a foreign body. Just like if you were to do an implant of something, that's a foreign body, but this foreign body's alive. It steals your nutrition. It blocks the nutrition. See, the reason why we get the spreading of the cancer and it gets larger is it creates a lot of lactic acid. Okay,
Yep.
so the lactic acid, but the problem is what it does is it does that to stop the higher vibrational cells around it so that it can become stronger. That actually brings the oxygen level down, brings the vibratory level down, or the frequency down, brings the mitochondria down from making ATP. And what we find is that with the tumor itself, remember something, it wants to live. It wants to live and it wants to grow. So what happens is it will block as much as it can. It'll start to grow roots. And those roots go out, and that helps to bring down the vibration in the outer area to slow down the cells so that it can so that the nutrition will bypass them. It's like the roots of a tree, and it can grab onto the nutrition around the area so that we can bring down the health of those cells, so that it's like
those cells end up encasing themselves, and it just slowly
infecting
gets
them,
bigger,
and it gets bigger. But we also find, and I think you'll see this if you do your homework, the more that somebody doesn't have faith in themselves or confidence in themselves, whether they're worthy to be loved, okay, or whether they allow themselves to love themselves or let themselves off the hook. The deal is here. Stop saying sorry all the time, okay? You'll find cancer patients are always sorry for everything. Stop being sorry, okay? Don't apologize, don't look for approval. And the other thing is this, but I do want you to say sorry. And if we hurt someone, we'll say sorry.
Physically, emotionally,
but guess what?
On purpose.
There is one person you need to say sorry to throughout the day,
and
that's your body. You're going to say sorry to your body. I'm so sorry. I love you. And I mean, I'm going to protect you. I'm going to respect you. I'm going to honor you. And I'm so thankful to have you. And thank you for healing. Thank you for being with me. Thank you for creating the cancer to show me what I was doing to myself on an emotional level and on a physical level. I am prepared to change. And you know what? And the thing is this, you'll find too that stop letting yourself down or getting into situations that you do. Do you notice how if you have children, you have a husband or you have a wife or you and you say sorry to someone, you don't say sorry. You let's put it this way. Don't look for people to say sorry or for forgiveness from people. And I'll tell you why. People don't change.
No.
They don't change. So if somebody says to you, I'm sorry, okay, and you go, okay, I forgive you this time, and then guess what? And they do it again. How hurt are you?
Well, yeah, you're going to be extra hurt because they...
So don't look for people to change. You need to change yourself.
That's lack of self-love in yourself, though,
I know,
because
but
you're allowing that
the
to
deal
reciprocate.
The deal is you've got to change yourself or you're never healing the cancer. You can't look for people to make you happy. You have to become happy.
Oh, of course.
You can't look for people to heal you. You must heal yourself.
Yeah.
And that's all I was trying to say is this, that don't look for sorry from people. You know what? You need to get to a point that you approve of who they are. But if you don't approve of what they are or what they do or their beliefs, why are you there? So that's the reality. If you're not willing to remove family members, to remove friends that are frenemies, if you're not willing to make changes in your reality and changes in your personality, well, that's what created the cancer, the conflict, the corruption, the contamination. If you don't remove that, then you don't find the answer, which is inside yourself. So I wanted to leave you with that, but the reality is, what if we showed your husband or we showed your wife how to do our techniques? What if we showed you both? What if you became a team? What if you unleashed the healers from within and you were there to support each other and you knew how to do it for the first time on an emotional level where you weren't trying to get her or him to fill up your heart? You weren't making them responsible for your happy because you became the happy. That's all.
And that's the relationships we should be striving for. We're not looking for anybody to fill us up because we already have so much self-love for ourselves. We look for a partner that has so much self-love in themselves that we just come together and just own it.
You water me, I water you, and we grow together. Yeah. It's beautiful.
And if you're looking to get well like this, good luck. And I mean good luck. I wish you all the luck. And, if you're looking for silver bullet therapy, I really true wish it works, and you can go ahead and do it. But while you're looking for the silver bullet therapy, why don't you learn how to create the perfect day and look after the foundational things that really create the healing within inside you, like, you know, between what you think, what you drink, what you eat, the way you live, how you breathe, how you sleep, the place you live in, where you go.
Yeah.
Really give it some thought.
Definitely. And one really big important thing to really know, because we did go through like the stages of how this can really happen with breast cancer. So make sure you're paying attention to all your warning signs and your pain signals that you're getting. If you do have tender breasts, if you do have some fibrotic scar tissue in your breast, really own that now. Take care of that now. Don't let that keep going. Like we were saying, we have people come to us and they hide things for 3 years.
Exactly. Pain is the fire alarm.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and you know what? If you've got lymph problems, if you've got a bowel problem, you know, if you've got pelvic pain, you know, even a hip problem, it can turn into a breast problem.
Totally.
Yeah.
Remember, they're not separate from each other. And why don't you tell them a little technique about under the arm?
Yeah. So it's really amazing when we do the full breast treatment, because we're coming fully around the breast. And with women, lots of women do wear underwire breasts. So we do get these 2 horseshoe shapes of scar tissue. It's like 2 strips of beef jerky
right
underneath the breast.
And here.
Yeah, and you'll find right where the underwire pushes in the corner here and here, you'll find like big deposits of calcium and crystallization, and it's quite tender
It's
when
ropey.
you're working on
It's
it
ropey.
too. Yeah, and then underneath the breast and in the breast, so you work the rib underneath and on top, and it's literally just like strip of beef jerky, ropey scar tissue. And then when we come onto the side of the arm, we find a lot of lymph swelling. So you can find like a padding underneath the armpit that should not be there. So if you grab your armpit, you should feel it should just be skin, bone. You shouldn't feel too much. But a lot of women and men will feel a padding, and it feels like this just squishy, fatty tissue.
Yeah.
And that is all just lymph that isn't moving properly. So we work on that, and we give you a lot of techniques that you can do at home to reduce the lymph swelling and restore the
Even
entire
the sternum, coming in from the sternum in between the ribs here. I mean, you can go into a man, but when you go into a woman, it's calcified, it's crystallized, it's crunchy. There is so much going all the way around.
Yeah.
So we encircle the area, loosen everything up, and then we go into the breast itself. We open up all the mammary glands.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, it's honestly amazing, and you feel so good after you get the treatment done. You can breathe better. Your breasts feel like they're looser. They feel like they're lifted. They feel plumper. They feel great. So it's not only for your health, it's aesthetically pleasing as well.
Well,
it's
and
an
also
amazing
the
treatment.
technique that we do, I mean, you men are going to love it, okay? And
Yeah.
it's totally therapeutic. And we have a specific technique, inchworm technique, a twisting, ringing, and there's cupping, you know.
Yeah.
Oh, there's so much fun to be had.
Yes, definitely.
So, you know, the reality is that we have a strategy, and that's all we need in life. And that's the problem. That's why everybody has terrorism going on in their mind, because you're not given a strategy. When you go out there into the system, when you come home, you're not feeling uplifted at all.
No.
You should be so excited. You know what? If your therapist is not empowering you, what are you doing? Okay, so where are we?
That wraps it all up for today.
Yep, so here it is. You know what? Take a look at our personal treatment and training to go or to stay. I mean, stay means come to us and stay in our beautiful Lakeview mountainside condo.
Or if you're really wanting to advance, look at our actual trainings like the Wolfe Deep Tissue, the Wolfe Non-Surgical, and the Whole Life Coach. If you want to hone this and you want to start even your own practice, or you just want to know how to run your life to the best way possible for your body and live the perfect day, check us out at itioh.com.
And if you go on itioh.com too, you can go check out our testimonials. We have so many different testimonials from practitioners who have taken our courses, people who have done our personalized treatment and trainings, and just our local clients as well. So go check that out if you're interested in learning more about what we do.
And understand something too. You know, we've been doing this for a while, and we'll even come and we'll do a certification on your whole clinic and your whole spa.
Yep.
Understand something. Who is this limited to? Nobody. Everybody has the right to heal, and to heal themselves, and then to show others how to heal. You know, people say, I just want to be a healer. Well, then let me see you heal yourself, okay? And to do that, bless you. And to do that, you're going to need simple but powerful techniques that are not going to drain your bank account and boggle the human mind. I don't know if you understand it or not, but it seems like every day out there, they're coming up with new words and new drugs that nobody understands, and it makes us confused. And it's like, we'll never be able to figure this out. My life is a mess. No, it's not. You are the gift, and the present and the power is in the present moment. So we need you to stay connected to your breath, stay calm, do some research on our Doc of Detox library, okay? And then join us for our Q&As on Mondays and Fridays, okay? And every day I do a small training on Facebook. If you don't like Facebook, I understand that, but at least I'm touching thousands of people every day and giving them life-saving tips. God bless, and thank you for joining us. Have a beautiful day. And the next show is?
We are going to be talking about hip conditions in the next show.
All right.
We'll see you there.
Bye
Thanks
now.
for watching.
Welcome back, everybody, to the International Training Institute of Health Masterclass. And today's segment is breast lift and reconstruction. And part 1 will be breast inflammation and pain, because that's where it all starts. Because understand something, that pain is the body's GPS. And when we do not listen to pain, that little inkling, that little voice, then it goes to inflammation, then it goes to swelling, then it goes to cellular mutation, fibroids, crystallization, calcium deposits in the breast. We're going to talk about all of these today, and we're going to show you that the power is in your hands. The power is what you think, what you drink, what you eat, and the way that you live. And it's about creating a blueprint called the perfect day from the minute you wake up until you go to bed to have the most beautiful breasts. And understand something. We want to teach you to love your breasts, not fear your breasts. What could happen to your breasts? What do you think?
Definitely. That's the biggest thing that we see with today's society too, with all the, well, we're even coming into October right now, right? So the pink ribbon month, everybody's gung-ho for breast cancer right now. And everybody is fearful. Everybody does think that they're a statistic, and the statistics don't look good unless you don't, or unless you change your ways and don't follow the herd anymore and you change your lifestyle.
And you better break away from the herd. I'm telling you right now, and understand this pink stinks. And I'll tell you something right now. You can walk into any place almost, whether it be a car wash or whether it be the dry cleaners, and you can buy a GMO chocolate bar, okay, and pay $5 that'll never be seen or go anywhere near what it's supposed to do. Yeah. And the whole thing is a manipulation. I hope you know when you're running, jumping, swimming, cutting your hair, and everything else that you dare, okay, just know this, that you're giving money to the pharmaceutical companies and how they can study and give more types of treatments that are attacking the human body. Okay, when Nixon said, let's have the war on cancer, what he actually meant back in the 70s was, we're going to have a war on you. And what he did was he was told to do that by the pharmaceutical companies. They said, if you can get everybody emotionally involved, run for it, jump for it, swim for it, okay, then what we're going to do is we're going to be able to bring more money in. Did you ever notice something? They have tons of money to go to war. They have tons of money to give to other countries, you know, for the most craziest things. And you know what? We don't have enough money or common sense, or enough love in our hearts to actually heal our brothers and sisters. All right? So just understand something. You know what? I think that you're not even awake if you wear a pink ribbon. Because understand something, you want to be part of the picture. You want to become special. You want to feel like you're doing something. Well, why don't you do something for humankind, not mankind, because mankind is not kind. And this whole thing is one big farce, all right? Because I'm going to tell you something right now. The same people, the cancer societies in United States, Canada, or anywhere else in the world, they work for the pharmaceutical companies, and they'll only talk about natural health when everybody else is already doing it. Okay? So understand something. Unless you're going to be giving the people their power back and not trying to drug them, radiate them, or chemotherapy, and we already know that when you go and get a breast x-ray, that it actually causes cancer.
Yeah.
So everybody already knows that. Okay? So the reality is, how would you like to learn how to love your breasts, not attack them, and not fear your breasts? Okay, so when you're young, you love your breasts, and so does everybody else. And then as you get older, you start to fear them. And if they start looking a little older, you start to fear that too, because you know what? It's like this. I'm going to tell you something. Approximately 10 years ago, the Breast Cancer Association said, let's double our spending. And when they doubled their spending, you know what they noticed? That there was an increase in breast cancer. So understand something. What you think about the most, okay, will become part of your life. So, do you realize that you are a woman and that you have the greatest healing power in the world? You can actually make a baby, but you can't heal your own breasts. Well, you're not going to heal your own breasts until you wake up and understand something, that you're on the chopping block. You want to follow the herd goes to the butcher. And today we're going to give you an alternative. We're not telling you not to go get surgery, are we?
No.
We're not telling you not to get radiation, are we?
No.
We're not telling you not to get chemotherapy. But guess what? When do you start taking massive action for yourself? When do you become responsible for those beautiful breasts you have?
And that's what it all comes down to. We have to take our breasts into our own hands.
That's right.
And take responsibility for it.
And look, and if you've got a boyfriend and you've got a husband, then you know what? We can teach you how to do proper breast massage.
Definitely.
We can teach you that. We can teach you how your boyfriend, and we can teach you how to get rid of the calcium deposits, how to get rid of the fibroids, how to get rid of the pus that's coming out of your nipples. Okay, how to get rid of the breast swelling and inflammation because you're backed up in your lymph system under your armpits, because you're backed up in your large intestine and you've been that way for years. It's called the domino effect. And understand something. Whether you believe this or not, we know that every pain and every illness has an emotional attachment to it. But I will tell you one thing. On a physical level, you've got trouble down in your pelvis before you ever have it in your breasts.
Yeah, because breasts are just like kind of more so like waste bearers for the woman's body more so, especially when it's overloaded. So they've been letting that large intestine and pelvis kind of just like seep with waste for so long for it to actually reach their breast to actually just continue to actually get to that point where it's going to create a calcium deposit, a fibroid, a tumor.
That's right. So what we see here is what happens is in today's society, I don't want to be a commercial, but these are toxic times. Well, yeah, they are. But the reality is that your body has the power to heal itself even in these toxic times. And the reality is that the more toxins you have and the more fight, fright, flight, otherwise being in a sympathetic state and dumping all of those hormones and chemicals that create the acidity between the toxins and that, your body's got to store it somewhere. Because the reality is that the more that you dump this into the tissues of the body, your body has to make fat to store it, because that's what fat's for. You didn't know that? Oh, listen, she's not overweight, she's overtoxic. Yeah. So she is suppressing her emotions, she doesn't know how to process them, and because she's emotionally off, okay, when we're emotionally off, we don't eat right, do we?
Never.
No.
We don't treat ourselves right. And when we run beliefs of not liking ourselves, not loving ourselves, then we are hating ourselves. And when we're doing that, we're beating ourselves up. and we're selling ourselves off one piece at a time. So the reality is all these toxins need to be stored in fat. So your body says, you know what, if it can make fat easily enough, it's going to make it. So, I mean, come on, obesity, come on. So we have 60% of the population obese right now. We have 80% of the population is overweight. Okay, so where does that tell you where we're going? Now, that's not in all places in North America, but in most sectors, we're dealing with that right now. Now, understand something. The bigger you are, the more toxic you are. The more toxins you take in, the more fat you have to create. Now, what if you were the type of woman that watched your weight, but you drank alcohol, or you didn't eat right, or you didn't hydrate properly? Okay, your body's not going to make fat. It's going to search for fat. So what are the breasts made out of?
Fat.
Okay, so your body is going to then take and send the toxins up to your breasts. Wow, there's 2 storage tanks. I mean, they're ready-made. But the reality is this. You're not going to have trouble with your breasts until you have trouble with your ovaries. That's not true. I've never been diagnosed with that. Well, you know what? You don't have to have trouble in your pelvis to feel it. Okay? All I can tell you is if you don't follow the rules, the laws of nature, which means that you are having complete bowel movements every day, you're drinking at least 3 quarts of structured water if you're a woman every day, you're having at least 1 or 2 blender drinks with berries, antioxidants, and you can put other things in it like humic fulvic, and you can put magnesium in there. Black gold, what we call. And you know what? And you do these blender drinks, and you have at least 1 large salad a day to get all that fiber in there. And you learn how to stay connected to your breath, doing the Lionheart breathing, and also doing pelvic expansion exercises, which we're going to be teaching you.
Belly button therapy.
Belly button therapy. And also, guess what? Learning. Okay, all right. So I need everyone to get this. Your body is made out of bone and muscle. The rest is water, right? Basically. But understand, are the problems and the pain in the bones? No. So is chiropractic great? Yes. But does it get rid of the fibro scar tissue, the calcium deposits, the crystallization? No. Okay. Wolfe Deep Tissue and Wolfe Non-Surgical is the most powerful therapy at restoring the tissues, organs, ligaments, and tendons and joints in the world. And we know that hands down. Okay? I have been working and creating this since I was 26 years old. I'm 43. I've worked on
63.
63. No, I want to be 43.
You are 43.
Okay, so I'm 43. Okay, so I've still been working on it a while.
Yeah.
So I'm 63. we
You
shot,
feel like 43.
we
No, you
shot
probably
for,
still feel
we
like
shot
23.
for 12 hours yesterday. And we're going to do another 12 today and probably another 12 tomorrow to do this whole docu-series for you. So, but here's the situation, all right? So I'm just saying that, you know, I've been at this long enough to see it. I've been at this long enough to know that we can take a fibroid the size of an orange and reduce it by 50 to 60% in one treatment.
Yeah.
The bigger the fibroid is, okay, or the bigger the tumor is, you have to, or the bigger the calcium deposit is, the inside is harder. As you go in deeper, it's harder because it's older. So do you understand? And all of this is created to protect you. And understand that when you have calcium deposits in your breast, we know that you're precancerous. Did you get that? Did you get that? We know that when you've had inflammation and pain in your breast for years, off and on, we know that you're at risk. Okay, we know that when you've got fibroids or scar tissue webbing throughout your breasts, we know that you're precancerous because all of these are physical blocks. The more physical blocks you have in your breast and the more you have of that, the more you cut down the energy that's invisible, the more you cut down the blood supply, the lymph supply. And the more you back up things, the more oxygen you lose, the more nutrition you lose. These cells get choked off and then they have to become cancerous or else they're not going to survive, and everything wants to survive. But you need to go and take a look in my library, and you need to take a look at the perfect day on page 37. You need to also go to the domino effect of unhealthy living, and you need to go also, and you can watch this, read this, listen to this. We've done it 3 different ways for you. and you need to also go to scar tissue to a tumor. And the main one, I Am Woman. Go read and watch I Am Woman. And then tell me that your mouth doesn't drop on the floor. Look, if you have any worries as a woman, you come to us for a personal treatment and training, or come and get our training, or we come to you for a personal treatment and training and teach you and your family or your husband or you and your girlfriend or you and your partner, it's over. This is over. Let's end fear today. Let's take back our power. Why did we even give it away? They said they were going to look after your breasts. Are you kidding me? What, do they sleep next to you? Are they in the shower with you? What kind of lunacy did we buy into to think they're going to look after your breasts? Let's talk about your breasts. But just remember something. Your breasts wouldn't be in trouble if you didn't allow the large intestine to get into trouble, and you didn't even know that. And we're going to teach you that. And then you backed up those toxins that you absorbed from the large intestine into your liver. But because of gravity, everything went down into the pelvis, and it inflamed your ovaries. And guess what? When you inflame the ovaries and you don't even know it, your bells up here, ding, 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 ding. They go off, and they're going off with inflammation and swelling and pain because you got trouble down in River City. And you can take it or leave it and believe it. Okay, and go and tell your doctor I said all this, and he'll say, that guy's a whack job. Okay, and then I want you to do this. I want you to tell him that he's invited on my show. I'll pay his plane ticket, and he'll come on my show and sit beside me, and then tell me that. I mean it. Do you know how many women out there that are getting surgery, radiation, chemotherapy, losing their hair? They are in panic mode and fear mode for years. How many women can't even go and have a shower without what? I want you to go have a shower and show you how to massage them and love them. I don't want you to go and have a shower and go, okay, I'm fine until tomorrow morning. Are you insane? Don't let them do this to you, because you are insane. It's going to drive you insane. I'm going to tell you something. My mother died of tongue cancer. My father died of leukemia. And this is when I was younger. And you know what? I just said, well, she got it. I'm going to get it. Why do you think they sold us that it's genetic? Breast cancer is not genetic. Cancer is not genetic. Okay? The habits you got from your parents and they got from their parents are. And because you're so powerful and you're created by God Almighty to create, and that's your most power, is that anything that you think about the most,
thought form becomes a physical form.
Becomes a physical form. And the reality is, if you're saying, I love myself totally and I'm going to do everything I can to love this vehicle that I live in, nothing's going to happen. You've got it made. You're going to relax. You're going to have that life that you were always promised. But if you have a dysfunctional belief that your mother had it, or that this percentage of women are going to have breast cancer at your age, and you buy into that garbage, the only reason why you get it is if you were the herd. Do you eat cheese? Do you eat yogurt? Do you have a glass of wine every day? Yeah. Okay. Do you eat potato chips? Do you have ice cream? Okay. Do you miss food combined? Do you not care about if you go to the bathroom or not, or drink the right water? Mm-hmm. Do you not even know how to monitor your emotions? Are you up and down hormonally all the time because you're in fight and flight? And here's the deal. Every time that you freak out and you sit, but you don't go run, at least before, when we'd freak out and there was a dinosaur or a tiger chasing us, we would burn off these chemical hormones that were creating this fight or flight. Mm-hmm. Every time you stress out and you stay at your desk, that just sits in you and it eats away at your groin and your breast. And it is acid. And now you're the acid queen. So understand something. Go ahead. Believe in their BS, dysfunctional belief system, that you're going to get it, or everybody else is going to get it, or these are their statistics. Their statistics don't mean anything. Do you actually think that their statistics have anything to do with me? Okay? I thought it was 43, for God's sakes. You know what?
It's for the worst possible case.
That's right. That's for the worst possible case. And you know, every few years that they actually bring down the rate of health for the majority of the population. Yeah. And because guess what? because they average it out for the majority of the population. And the majority of the population, 85% of the population, has an autoimmune disease. 1 out of every 2 men are going to get cancer. That are a statistic. Okay, 1 out of every 3 women are going to have cancer, and the leading cancer right now is breast cancer, and that's because they advertise it so much. You get what you focus on. So now, if you have a negative thought and that thought doesn't leave you, but it sits in the back of your mind, it may not be present all the time, but it is your major negative thought, then that thought has to be fed. How did it get so powerful? Because you feed it every day because you don't know what you're thinking. You are not thinking about what you're thinking about. A busy mind is not an intelligent one. Understand that. So now you're not thinking what you're thinking about, and you're feeding the most prominent thought that I'm probably going to get cancer. So, and you just need to think that every couple of days. And it's just like, well, let's go water it like a plant, and it's just going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. But guess what? What you feed gets bigger until it becomes a monster, and then guess what? It becomes real, because thought form
creates physical form.
And that physical form is going to eat you up. And that's called cancer. And because you go for statistics, any woman that gets that kind of breast cancer that you have is going to have this. Why don't you just break away from the herd? Why don't you just do everything different? Why don't you just do nothing that anybody else does, like me, and be called a whack job? Let's get started.
Okay. So we're starting with breast inflammation and pain. So first on the list, we have nostalgia, or breast pain, is a common complaint among women and can include breast tenderness, sharp burning pain, or tightness in your breast tissue. The pain may be constant, or it may occur only occasionally. The medical cause of nostalgia is related to reproductive hormones and certain medications, example, birth control or antidepressants.
Okay,
Breast size.
Can we go back for a second? So the first one was?
For the cause?
Reproductive
hormones.
Okay, so you might get a tad of swelling, a little bit going on, but guess what? If you knew what to eat and you knew how to treat them, that's gone in an instant.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's just put that off to the side, like right now.
And that does happen. Like before your periods, you will get a little bit of tenderness from your hormones shifting. But if you're following the right diet, drinking structured water,
amount of hydration,
and your bowels are moving,
if
your bowels aren't moving, and guess what? You don't even know what bowels moving means. So you need to check out our guide in the Perfect Day of what a good bowel movement is. And understand, if you don't have a complete movement every day and 2 to 3 of them, if you eat 2 to 3 meals a day, then you're on your way to trouble.
And even when they are tender, giving them love, showing them love, and massaging them in the shower, the tenderness goes away so quickly.
And here's the deal. We're not going to be doing this. We do this only for people who come to take our course or personal treatment and trainings that we train. We teach you how to use the non-surgical technique, but we teach you how to pad and clap them. And I will tell you, and you can believe this or not, but we have people all over the world that do these techniques and they're able to get rid of their tumors. And they do it themselves. And we teach them how to do that. So you're either going to freak out or you're going to become the genius of your body. All right? Yeah. So, and remember something, that nostalgia means just pain in the breast. Okay? They couldn't just say that, but it's nostalgia.
Yeah. So then certain medications like birth control and antidepressants, of course, those are disrupting hormones.
They're disrupting hormones, so they are going to cause a problem. So they're being very honest about that.
Yeah. Breast size. So if you have larger breasts, they can cause breast pain.
Yeah, but you know what? But that's where you got to go in and massage them. That's where you got to go in and work with them, right?
Definitely.
And it's basically just the weight.
Yeah.
So you know that if you have larger breasts, that you're going to be pulling up in the clavicle area here. All you need to do is just do some padding, some clapping, or a little bit of light sculpturing. And guess what? I'm going to tell you something. I don't care about that because it's gone in 2 minutes. And I do it 2 minutes, right?
Yeah.
2 to 3 minutes, and it's gone, and it's not going to come back in an hour. The problem is because of the weight, you're causing and pulling and constricting, so the fibers come too tight together, and when they come too tight together, the circulation and energy can't be there. So you got to open up those they're like this. You got to open up the fibers again, and the pain's gone. It's just you know what? You have all these muscles and you don't even know what to do with them.
Yeah.
And that's okay. Nobody knows what to do with them. Nobody's taught. And guess what? Every day, tell me I'm right or wrong, the people that come to us, they're down on their knees and they're begging God, please.
Yeah.
And they had so many symptoms. They had so many warnings because guess what? The husband doesn't want to spend the money. The woman doesn't believe she deserves it. Okay? She doesn't deserve to spend the money. And she might feel guilty. You should see how guilt and sinner's syndrome stops people from saving their own lives.
Yeah.
All right.
And the last on the list is complications from breast surgery. And of course, that involves scar tissue formation from
And we know
the surgical scar.
And what do we know about surgery?
It
Adhesions.
creates the worst adhesions in the body.
It creates the worst scar tissue adhesions in your body. So if you have any type of surgery, whether it's plastic surgery or it's because of a health situation,
Yeah.
you
Breast
need
reduction,
to
anything.
get after about, let's say, depends on everyone's different, 6 to 10 weeks.
6 to 10 weeks.
Yeah.
6 to 8 weeks usually.
You go in and we gently go in there and pull the scar tissue apart and it comes back to connective tissue. How would you like us to go in there and you've got this scar that you don't like?
Because after that scar, though, it's going to be a thick band, and then that scar is going to root in like
And-
a tree.
Yeah,
and
those
when
roots.
it's left for a long time, when we see older scars, they're like rubber.
It's
They're
like beef jerky in
super,
there.
super
Yeah.
tough.
Yeah.
So the quicker you can jump on that and get that worked on, the better, because
Yeah.
And guess
better to
what?
get it easy.
How would you like that brown kind of blackish thing to go pink?
Pink.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, whoa, why did it just go pink? Well, we brought the temperature up.
And
We
the
brought the circulation up, and now the cells are alive. And guess what's going to happen? Any place that you have a scar, the risk of getting a tumor right beside it, or a fibroid, or a cyst, or anything like that is amazing. It won't happen in the scar, but it'll happen beside the scar
a lot
because
of the
the
times
scar,
it's right where the knife went in,
Yeah.
too.
the scar is a physical block. And a physical block blocks life. Block life, bring the vibration down, bring the circulation down, and you're going to bring up things that you don't like mutation. Because if a cell can't get enough oxygen and nutrition, it has to mutate into something else and live off something else. And that would be you.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so the medical treatment for breast pain usually includes adjusting hormonal contraceptives and taking anti-inflammatory medications.
So tell your body to shut up. Now you don't feel the pain, but guess what? The damage is still happening in the cell. What the medication does is it causes a disconnect from the pain to the brain, and you just don't know it's there. And how exhausted are you feeling? Because you still have that pain and inflammation going on in the body. That's why you're tired all the time now, because you're not putting the fire out. How does your body put the fire out? Guess what? Go on these drugs, and you're going to start pulling the calcium from the bones in the area, and now you're going to get calcium deposits.
Yeah.
Or what's happening is you're going to create all kinds of scar tissue to wall off the inflammation that you don't feel. All right.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, it's just such a vicious cycle. Like fast food, because I'm super tired. They
Yeah.
eat fast food, puts more toxins into the body. No energy to actually have a nice salad. Go out of your way, put good stuff into your body. It's just
Yeah.
always quick. Got to get it done. And then
Yeah.
you're just,
Well-
it's just feeding the
And
toxins.
even with
Except it's not quicker. I can make a blender drink. Okay.
No, mentally, it's quicker.
know, I know.
Fast food.
I know.
Yeah, exactly.
I know.
That's a meal.
It's
A
the
blender
programming
drink, the
that's
blender
been
drink's
done,
not
right?
a meal. You know what I mean?
But does
Like,
anybody see that every time that we create something that makes it faster in our life, we have less time?
Yeah.
Okay? So now, you know what? Now that we have computers that are fast, we can send information, we can do things quicker. We never can get anything done.
Yeah, it's really interesting. I was thinking about that the other day, just in line at the bank, and how easy things are now. And like back in the day, people would have had to spend like an hour doing some things at the bank. And now it's so quick, but yet people are like, it's not quick enough.
Okay, but here's the deal. The deal is now we're working not off our own intelligent mind. We're working with artificial intelligence that is being our mind. So we're not minding our own business.
Yeah.
And it has taken over our business. Okay? And whether people want to believe this or not, that is an entity that is eating up our lives. And it will eat up our lives. It's eating up our children's lives. But let's move on.
Definitely. All right, so next up on our list is mastitis, which is an inflammation of the mammary gland in the breast, typically due to bacterial infection via a damaged nipple.
Okay, can we just 1 second?
Yeah, of course.
It's not because of a damaged nipple.
No.
Okay, just so you know that. But you could have a damaged nipple, and it could happen.
Yeah.
But that's not
It's
true.
not caused
That's not
from
true.
Yeah.
The bacteria is caused because of the infection that was
Seeping from
yeah,
the large intestine.
yeah, and it from the large intestine, believe it or not, that went into the bloodstream, that backs up eventually into the lymph. Because see, your lymph system dumps into your large intestine.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Now, what if your large intestine has no tone? What if your large intestine is caked with poop, old poop crusted on the walls of the inside of the
Most
intestine?
people's are.
Yeah, so the lymph can't back up, so the lymph backs up into you.
Mm-hmm.
And when your arm backs up, so when you either use underarm deodorant or when you smell your armpit and it smells stinky, your armpit should never smell stinky.
Mm-mm.
Just know that. Okay, nothing's supposed to smell stinky. That means it's rotting. So when it backs up, that infection's going to go into here. And we already
course.
talked about how the breasts become tanks of toxicity.
Yep.
Yep.
Right? So, and the other thing is understand that if you had inflammation going on for like days, just days, what should you have in your breast? Rotting tissue. Because what does inflammation do? It burns up tissue.
Mm-hmm.
And the tissue dies.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's trying to recover, but that tissue that dies, that rotting tissue becomes bacteria. And the bacteria come to eat up the rotting tissue.
Mm.
So now you got the bad bacteria in the breast because you've got rotting in your breast.
Decomposing breast tissue.
Yeah.
Decomposing
Well, and it's just the same
but
thing we were talking about before.
microscopically, it's not like your whole
it's not like the breast is eating itself,
Yeah.
but you have little bacteria guys eating
but
the
when you
breast
get
tissue.
breast cancer, now you've got a decomposing breast.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
And it's the same thing we were talking about with the mutation of
Yeah.
the candida to fungus. It's the same thing that's happening upstairs.
As soon as you've got not long-term, but if you've had inflammation going on for, a few days and then into a few weeks,
Mm-hmm.
we know that has brought down the vibratory level of that. And guess what? And what's being created in there? Well, we're going to get worms, bacteria, fungus,
Mm-hmm.
viruses. They all come to the party.
Yep.
Whatever is dying, they come because they're supposed to eat it up and decompose it and get it ready for the earth.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
All right. And the treatment that the medical system would offer for this is antibiotics because of the bacteria or anti-inflammatory medications.
And good luck with that. But it could work, but good luck with it.
Mm-hmm. All right.
And remember what do the antibiotics do? But they knock out the good bacteria
Yeah.
Good bacteria
in
and
the
bad
large
bacteria.
intestine,
Yeah.
which we know was the culprit in the beginning, and now it's even going to get worse. So I'm not telling you not to go and do your antibiotics, but wouldn't it be great if you just took your life back?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there's so many different alternatives that you can be
Alternatives.
doing for this. And again, it all comes down to increasing the circulation in the breast, getting that blood flow in, that energy flow, the lymph moving, and that oxygen flow coming back through. So doing the Wolfe Non-Surgical is the best way to get everything open, but you can do a lot of things from home too. So we do want to touch on those when we
will
do the
be
treatment.
We will be touching on them, and we're going to walk through a whole treatment of what we would do
Mm-hmm.
with a breast treatment.
Yeah.
We're not going to show the techniques
No.
because that's not a ploy, but that's where we want to make sure that we are being very professional and showing people how to do it.
Yeah.
And that's why people come to stay with us. That's where we
Exactly.
go to train people. That's why we go to train clinics. We've already got 2 clinics that we're scheduled to go and train all the staff on how to do the Wolfe Non-Surgical, the Wolfe Deep Tissue, the facial sculpturing, and the whole life coaching. You know what? So we want to make sure that when we've got something very powerful, and we want to make sure that when we leave someone, they have the power too.
Mm-hmm.
Not just, oh, here's a little tidbit.
Yeah.
I'm going to give you a little technique, and then it's going to be great. No, we're going to create the perfect day. We're going to create a blueprint for success.
Yes.
Okay?
Definitely.
Yes.
So next up, we have breast cysts. So breast cysts are fluid-filled sacs within the breast. One breast can have one or more breast cysts. They are often described as round or oval lumps with distinct edges. In texture, a breast cyst usually feels like a soft grape or a water-filled balloon,
No.
but sometimes a breast cyst can feel firm. Experts don't know what causes breast cysts. Some evidence suggests that excess estrogen in your body, which can stimulate the breast tissue, may contribute to breast cysts.
And that could happen,
Mm-hmm.
but that's not why it happens. Do you understand? This is pus again. This is infection. And you could have one or you could have many. Well, you're going to get one, and then if you don't do anything about it, you're going to have many.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's similar to, if you guys haven't watched it yet, the pelvic clearance treatment episodes
go
that
watch
we've done. We
go
talked
watch
about.
but I would watch the abdominal one to really first, and then watch the pelvic one to really understand the pelvic one. And if you understand, then because that's how it is. It's a domino effect. Abdominal to pelvis.
And then it leaches
to breast.
Yeah. And we talk about ovarian cysts in the pelvic clearance videos. So we go into depth there.
Really into depth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the treatment that they offer for the medical system is fine needle aspiration, hormonal contraceptive, or surgery.
Okay. So which one do you want? Okay. Do you want to just take it back? Do you want to take it back? You know what? You were given this vehicle, all right? And I guarantee you that we can show you how to drive it. Okay.
All right. Next, we have fibrocystic breasts. So fibrocystic breast is a benign, so non-cancerous condition in which the breasts feel lumpy. Fibrocystic breasts aren't harmful or dangerous, but may be bothersome or uncomfortable for some women. Can
I say something? And then, so just understand, we talked about fibroids in the pelvis, and these are fibroids in the breast. Fibrocystic breasts. Okay, so that means fibro means fiber. And what happens when your breasts become inflamed is your body makes fibrin, and it'll continually send fibrin to the area until the inflammation comes down. If it ends up sending too much fibrin to the area, the fibrin actually causes the inflammation because of the decreased circulation, because it becomes a physical block.
Mm-hmm.
And then what happens is you've got the fibro, and the cyst is actually, you're going to actually get, when we talked about the cysts, you're actually going to get infection around the area. So I don't really know how to say this, but I'll try to make it as nice as possible. So it's fibropussy tissue. So this is what we're dealing with. So if you end up getting physical blocks, and the more physical blocks you do, the more you're going to head to what we call dis-ease, because your tissue's not at ease, because the circulation and the temperature and the vibration and the frequency of the tissue is all messed up. The mitochondria, the DNA are not getting any light. Your mitochondria need light, and that comes through the blood and through the lymph. It's actually light is carried to them. But if there's a physical block, they don't get the light. Your mitochondria need light to make ATP, which is the energy to heal you. Are you getting this? I hope so. All right.
So the exact cause of fibrocystic breast is not known to doctors, though they suspect that hormones, especially estrogen, play a role. Their treatment include anti-inflammatory drugs and oral contraceptives. Rarely, surgery may be needed to remove the persistent cyst-like lumps.
So there's your choice. We need not say more. Okay. Yeah. All right.
Next, we have fibroadenomas. And fibroadenomas is the most common type of benign breast tumors. And most don't increase your risk of breast cancer. Although women of any age can develop fibroadenomas, they usually occur in younger premenopausal women. A fibroadenoma typically has a well-defined round or oval shape and a rubbery feeling and is painless. When you touch it, it's easy to move around under the skin as opposed to being stuck in one place.
Okay, so, and you know what, when they said premenopausal, well, because there's a lot of hormonal changes going on, so that, you have to understand something. You remember this saying, the straw that broke the camel's back? So are we going to blame the straw, or are we going to blame the toxic inflammatory load that's been on that woman for so long that she doesn't even realize or never been trained? Mm-hmm. Okay. All right.
So the cause of fibroadenomas is unknown, but they might be related to reproductive hormones. Fibroadenomas occur more often during your reproductive years, can become bigger during pregnancy or with the use of hormone therapy, and might shrink after menopause when hormone levels decrease.
I need to say something, okay? So supposedly we put somebody on the moon. We have made such great leaps when it comes to technology. But when it comes to all the sicknesses that people have, we can't figure it out.
Donate money to cancer research.
You know what? We can't figure it out. So we want you to run for the cure, jump for the cure, cut your hair for the cure, because we haven't figured anything out yet. Not a thing.
And they never will.
We don't know anything, because if they were to find out what we know, they'd have to close shop, wouldn't they?
Mm-hmm.
Or even if they didn't close shop, they would have to expand the shop. They would have to expand their consciousness.
Because for
right?
what they're doing, there's no money in the cure.
You know what? How long are we going to go through life going, I didn't know better. I just didn't know. Okay? And you know what? How many women out there right now that are watching this show are feeling a lump and they don't want to tell their husband because they're freaked out? They don't want the kids to know, and they don't want to go and find out. Do you know how many? Okay. In the last year, we've had 3 women come to us that discovered this 3 to 5 years ago and wouldn't tell anyone. I had a woman come to us about 1.5 years ago. Do you remember? And she came and she hid this. And her breast, the one breast was, I don't know, I hope you don't mind, about this big. The other breast was a hard, did you ever watch, what is it called, the Amazing Four, the guy, the rock guy?
Fantastic Four.
Fantastic Four. You know the rock guy? Her breast looked like that, like the rock guy. Now, we told her, why did you wait so long? Because I was so scared. I didn't want anybody to know. I even kept it from my husband. I said, your husband didn't see this? And then she came to learn the technique, but he wouldn't come. I said, you can't do this on your own. Well, he won't come. So she went home. And I'll tell you something. If her husband came and learned this,
it wouldn't have been a problem.
What I'm trying to tell you is, but he couldn't come. Do you know why? Because if you saw it, it freaked him out. He didn't want to touch it. He didn't want to see it. He couldn't be near it. This is the mess we get into when we don't face things. I need you to face your fears. Write them down right now. We're not talking about your breast now. Write your fears down. And then go back between the age of 0 and 7 and try to find out what activated them. Because the majority started there, and then the secondary ones were 7 to 14. And if you don't want to go back in history, you're not going to change your future. So use the present moment and go back and rewrite your story. And if you check out the Braveheart training and the 12 loving steps, number 11 and 12 is going to teach you how to do that.
It's life-changing. It truly is. When you can really go back and look at your past from a different perspective and actually change the way you view it and change how you want to move forward with those emotions,
and look,
it's the most amazing feeling in the world.
Start with the 12 loving steps, and it's a video. You can just lay back and watch it if you want. Just click on the Braveheart guide in the library, Dr. Detox library. And if you think you like that, I'm going to give you a gift. Type in Braveheart free and go to Braveheart on itiroh.com and do the online Braveheart training. And just type in Braveheart free, and I just gave it to you free.
It's a coupon code. So in the coupon code area, right?
Yeah, you've got nothing to lose and all to gain, and that would be your beautiful life. All right?
All right. Next up, we have nipple discharge. So this is obviously just discharge coming from the nipple, and there are many reasons some may get discharge from the nipple, including abscess, birth control pills, breast cancer, endocrine disorders, excessive breast stimulation. The list goes on and on and on, from medical cycle, hormonal changes to everything else in between.
You know, the list goes on, and now you already understand by what we've said, okay? And the other thing is, if you didn't have this leakage come out of your nipple, then you would be in big trouble.
Yeah.
Okay? So
It needed to come out
it
somewhere.
needs to come out. And as soon as you stop making it, it'll stop coming out. So you need to find out on an emotional and physical level, absolutely right now, take action on what you can do. And I promise you, if you do this, it may start running even more for a few days or for a few weeks. And then it's going to dry up, not the breast, but the leaking.
Yeah.
And then you're going to heal. All right. And you got to have faith in yourself, okay? All right? Don't make your breasts the enemy, okay? Look at how they become your enemy. Isn't that amazing how somebody could actually get you to turn against your breasts?
They
Wow.
Go back to when they first started developing, when you were a teenager and
And
you
go
were
there.
so excited and you loved them and you just wanted them to keep growing.
Yeah, and that's
Well,
it.
so-
That's
yeah.
it.
Keep going there and love them like you did back then. That's
It's all
the
about
key.
going back. It's going back and rewriting the story and then hold on to that dream because I'll tell you something. Pain is your GPS for your body. It's the most important thing. And your imagination is the most important thing for creating the life you want. And if you don't want to get back into your imagination, because image creates the thought, that creates the emotion, that creates the frequency, that releases the chemicals and hormones, that creates the physical you. And you decide what type of chemicals you want that chemistry to release, which is your brain. Okay?
Next up, we got nipple and breast itchiness. So dermatitis and eczema would be the medical terms for those. And the medical doctors do not know the cause. The treatment is anti-inflammatory medications and creams used when someone is dealing with dermatitis and eczema.
So understand something. You know, do you want to just deal with the symptoms or go to the cause? You know what?
And again, this is a topical condition. So we're dealing with the skin here, and with anything with the skin, again, it's always coming back to the large intestine too. So I feel like we've come full circle, and everybody should understand that we need to start with the large intestine.
Yeah, always.
Yeah.
Yeah. But where the mind goes, the body follows. So go into that landmine and create a beautiful brain.
Yes. So that concludes episode 1 of breast inflammation and pain. We will be doing our breast lift and reconstructive treatment video as well. So definitely check that out if you are interested in anything we talked about
Well,
today.
that's the one you want to follow up. If you like this one, then you're going to love that one.
Yes.
Because this one is where we scare you. The other one is where
we show
Empower
you. How to get it
you.
away.
we didn't try to scare you. We don't ever want to do that, okay?
But if you want to be empowered and take your
Yeah.
breasts
And
back, check out the breast lift
See
and
how you can heal
restorative video.
yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, we're going to start our own campaign. Take your breasts back.
Yeah.
Okay.
There we go.
All right.
See you in the next episode. We'll be talking about breast surgeries.
Thanks for watching.
Thank you. Welcome back, everyone, to the International Training Institute of Health Masterclass. And this is part 2. And what we're going to be talking about is we're going to be talking about breast surgeries. And guess what? With this whole big cancer scare, breast cancer scare, and that going through the roof because everybody's getting scared of having it, they're focusing on it, they're getting it. This is a big topic about breast surgeries because there's a lot of them going on.
Yeah, definitely. We have a bunch of different types of surgeries you can be getting with your breast, whether it be an augmentation, a lift, a reduction, or a mastectomy or reconstructive surgery. So we're going to be talking about everything today.
Absolutely. And I just want to say this, okay? We have found the pot of gold if we're surgeons. We have found the pot of gold. Okay, did you see all the ones that we can do here? And that's only the partial list.
Yeah.
Okay, so understand something. If you're a surgeon, you're going to want to do surgery. I'm not telling you not to get the surgery. I'm just trying to tell you that you need to weigh out your options and you need to take your life back and you need to create the perfect day from the minute you wake up until you go to bed. And that's where we come in to help to create that for you. You can get a perfect day consultation from us. And this is not an advertisement. I'm trying to tell you that if you don't know how to manage that beautiful vehicle of yours, then your breasts are going to get into trouble. Okay? Because your breasts, what they do is they get inflamed when you get toxic. You bring your toxins down on an emotional and physical level, and then we'll see how healthy they truly are. Okay?
All right. So
All
we're going to
right.
start off with breast augmentation. Breast augmentation is a surgery to increase breast size. It involves placing breast implants under the breast tissue or chest muscle. One may choose to have a breast augmentation surgery if they are unhappy with the size or shape of their breasts. There are different surgical options for breast implants, including under the muscle or over the muscle implants, under the breast, through the armpit or nipple incision, and there are several options for implants, including liquid silicone, gummy silicone, saline, and a newer option, which is fat transfer. And for aftercare, after you have a surgery, the medical system will recommend including rest and anti-inflammatory medications as well as pain medication.
All right, so let's look at it this way. Okay, so I want everybody to understand that we are being made to accept artificial intelligence. We are being made on, I like my phone, but we are being made to accept artificial intelligence everywhere, even scanning your food. But it's in our homes, it's in our lives, it's at our kitchen tables. Our kids are addicted to it. Now we're being made to what? Put foreign objects into our body, whether it's a hip replacement, knee replacement, whether it's a spinal fusion, whether there's a rod put in your spine, whether
plates in your ankles,
plates and screws. And you know what? And we're also really doing a great job on making women feel unworthy so that they want to get their breasts changed because they're just not good enough. And I'm not saying you shouldn't do it. So understand, we're not saying that here today. But the reality is, if I was in the business of surgery, would I sit back and try to figure out how I could get my business better? How I could bring more business in?
Of course.
So I want you to understand something, that when you talk to people, they're talking with their money mouth, not with their heart mouth. And even with us, I mean, we want you to challenge us. We want you to do your homework. We want you to say, is that logical or is that not logical? Is what they're doing dangerous or is it not dangerous? And what risks are there? And if you don't want to look at life and see what the risks are, right? So when your emotions rule you, you can make some bad decisions. So make sure you make healthy ones and do your homework. And the big one is if you're going to get any of these things, because these are all surgeries, we have mentioned this a lot, haven't we, throughout the shows?
Yeah.
That when you get a surgery, the scar tissue from a surgery is the worst scar tissue that you can have in the human body. Now, I haven't said this, but do you know why? It's called terrorism, because your body does not like a knife going in and cutting it open. It does not. That is called terrorism to the body. And everything is on a vibration in life, vibration, emotion, and that scar tissue holds on that terror, that emotion. Whether you say, I'm cool about it or not, remember something. Every cell in your body is alive. It has consciousness. Did you know that every cell in your body has a digestive organ, a circulatory organ? It has a nervous system. It has a brain. It has everything. So it's a little mini you 50 trillion times. So it freaks out. And what happens is when you get surgery, the whole surrounding area goes into contraction and goes into fear. Did you hear me? Your cells actually do that. They contract down. And if they stay fearful for too long, they thicken. The wall will actually thicken. So I just want you to understand that every part of you is alive, and every part of you is a living entity unto itself. So when you get surgery, it's going to leave a lot of scar tissue, and that scar tissue is going to create physical blocks. Those physical blocks are going to reduce your circulation, reduce your vibration, and then guess what? It can lead to inflammation and even mutation. So why don't we go through them?
Definitely.
So I'm not telling you not to do it, but I am telling you that if you do these things, you want to get on a healthy diet because you've got enough going on in the body.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you want to get rid of the scar tissue
And bring down
that
the
was created
inflammation.
by the surgery, and make sure that, and there's techniques that even if you get any of these done, you can have zero inflammation.
Yeah.
Yeah. And when it comes to breast augmentations for women who have had breast augmentation done, you do want to get the deep tissue work done no matter how long ago it was. We want to work on that scar, and we want to work throughout the entire breast tissue, because that scar tissue from that incision is spreading up and around the breast. So
Like roots,
And
like
now there's
weeds.
a foreign object in there
Yeah.
as well. So with the foreign object in the body goes to attack it and kind of encase it with scar tissue, because it's like, oh, I'm going to try to protect this.
yeah.
And so it just roots itself around that.
Tries to like encase it in the scar tissue. So it's really important to really work on that, especially with the statistics that are coming out now with the autoimmune disorders that are being attributed to actual breast implants. And because it is a foreign object, it's not meant to be in your system. So your body is constantly sending attack at it, right? So it is best to, of course, just love your body you were born with.
Yeah.
But if you do get them and they make you happy, then that's great.
Yeah, and understand something that, and if you ever get surgery again to replace, right? To replace
Yeah,
that.
because you have to replace them they say 8 to 10 years normally.
Yeah, and when you do, make sure that your plastic surgeon takes out the scar tissue that was wrapped around it. A lot of times they leave it in. They take that out. You don't want to do that. You've got to take the scar tissue that was wrapped around that encasing. It's got to come out, because that's when you're going to get into trouble.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
All right, let's move on to breast lift. So a breast lift is a plastic surgery procedure for raising sagging breast upon the chest of a woman by changing and modifying the size, contour, and elevation of the breasts. The medical cause for this is just that one may choose to have a breast lift after pregnancy, weight fluctuation, and gravity to reduce sagging. And of course, it's just a surgical procedure to lift the breasts, and aftercare is the same as a breast augmentation, rest, anti-inflammatory, and pain medications.
And just so you know that, yeah, you're going to do these things because you have to, but the thing is you want to make sure you bring up your health program. Also, just so you know this, when we do a breast lift with the Wolfe Non-Surgical, and Abby will attest to it because she does most of them, and that is that when you can take a measurement where the nipple is, right? You tell the story, and where it will be later.
Yeah, honestly, whenever we do the breast lift, because as we were talking about before, the actual pec muscles above the breast, with the breast pulling down on it all the time, this gets really contracted and pulls down, so you get that sagging. So when we open up all the muscle fibers throughout the pec and throughout the breast, you'll literally see like 2 to 3 inches lift in the breast, I would say.
Yeah.
And we do measure it. I have actually pictures. I just did one breast and then I didn't do the other. And it's literally like this. They're like completely lopsided. So we can do a lot of amazing things non-surgically with our Wolfe Non-Surgical techniques.
And
so you aren't needing to go in to get the breast lifts surgically done. I mean, there are some cases where women do
and even
have
if you're going to do it, if you do this
the deep
and
tissue is 6 to 8 weeks afterwards.
Restore the proper temperature, restore the proper vibration, restore the circulation, restore the tissue, get rid of the fibro scar tissue, make them healthier before you go.
Yeah, I was just going
it
to
won't
say,
have
do
all
it
the
before.
scar tissue pulling on the pectoral muscle again, so you won't
Exactly.
have that reoccurring problem of the saggy breast.
Yeah, so you'd want to get the treatment before surgery if you do need to still go for the surgery, because there are some women who do need it. And then you would, of course, want to get it done again after, so that we can go in and work on any of the incisions that they did make, so you aren't going to have that spreading of the scar tissue.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the next is breast reduction. So this is, of course, a procedure used to remove excess fat, tissue, and skin from the breasts. If you have large breasts, you might choose to have a reduction surgery to ease the discomfort or to achieve a breast size proportionate to your body. And a lot of the times the medical cause for this is because of chronic back pain, chronic rash or irritation under the skin, So under the breast where it's like folding down. Poor self-image are all reasons one may decide to have breast reduction surgery. And of course, it is done through incisions and liposuction to remove excess fat, and same aftercare protocols. So rest, anti-inflammatory, and pain medications.
So understand that if you're going to go through something like this, any of these protocols, right, and you can't come to us, just know this, that at least call us and we will give you some amazing tips on preparation. And the best one is healing after. How would you like to reduce the inflammation, the pain, and the swelling by at least 70-80%?
Increase
And
the
speed up
circulation.
the healing process by like 50%.
and have it heal better and have at least 70% less scar tissue than you would have had.
Yeah.
You know, that's what we do.
Yeah.
Okay.
Next, we have mastectomy and reconstruction. So mastectomy is the removal of the whole breast. There are 5 different types of mastectomy: simple or total, modified, radical, and partial, and subcutaneous. So that's nipple sparing. The medical cause, one may decide to get a mastectomy as a way to treat or prevent breast cancer. Some women choose to undergo breast reconstruction surgery after having a mastectomy. And the treatment, of course, is surgery. And the aftercare, again, we have antibiotics, anti-inflammatories, and pain medication and rest. They would have been giving antibiotics for the
All
other ones as well. I think they also put it in the IV through
Yes, they do.
treatments.
And it all depends on how much they feel the patient might be in danger of getting the infection will depend on how much they're going to give them, right?
Yeah.
So, but the other thing is this. I hope you did see here that, you know, you'll actually get this. You'll actually get your breast removed, and that's called prevention of cancer before you even get it.
That was what Angelina Jolie did, I believe, right? When she found out she had that gene.
Which is not true. Isn't that something? And tell me today she doesn't want to talk about it because, But you know what? Talk about somebody who has drama and trauma in their life, running a trauma program that would go to creating and doing something so dramatic. What is she screaming for? I'll just leave it right there. Okay?
Yeah.
So, all I'm trying to say is I don't really know if having your breasts removed is the best thing for the prevention of cancer.
Yeah.
Why not actually changing your beliefs and totally falling in love with yourself and having and creating a perfect day?
Yeah, definitely. I feel like it's really not, like if I were in that situation, that would never be my go-to. I would always look to why did this happen? What emotion caused me to get into this situation?
Depends. If it's the right breast, it's a relationship, and it's probably with your spouse or your partner, or it could be even with your parents. And then usually with the left breast, you'll find out if you go deep enough, it's a childhood thing, either your child or your own childhood that you haven't dealt with. And there was a major study done on this, and this is one of those studies that the medical system really wants to suppress as much as possible. But understand something. Even take a look at Angelina Jolie. If you take a look at her, if she hasn't found someone, do you know the massive scar tissue that has overtaken her lung area, overtaken her heart already? And I guarantee you that her heart has tons of scar tissue around it. We're actually going to be showing you and talking, we'll be going through how we do the technique, but how we do a heart release. And everybody needs a heart release because the heart is the most damaged organ and it has so much scar tissue around it. So just think, and here the heart is on the left and your childhood or your children are also on the left. Isn't that, for emotion wise? So you know what? Everything needs to be taken into account, but understand this. Any type of surgery, and especially this type of surgery, there's going to be massive scar tissue.
And the biggest thing with this, the difference between those other surgeries and this type of surgery is those ones are done for, you're trying to improve yourself. You want to improve your image. You want to feel better about yourself. The other one is completely fear-based.
Yeah, and it's also, it's a do or die,
Yeah.
right? That's your mind saying that
Mhm.
because everybody else is saying that.
Yeah.
Because everybody in your family is already fear-stricken that they're going to get it. And you know what? So as soon as you get it, they're going to want you to do what they would have done.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. And that wraps up everything to do with surgeries. Is there anything else you wanted to touch on with that?
No, just make sure that you get second opinions and
Mhm.
make sure that you stay connected to your Lionheart breathing and try to do the Braveheart 12 loving steps, or at least the Love Band, Life Band, 3, 2, 1, I got this, 3, 2, 1, that's the old me, 3, 2, 1, I can heal, and stay connected to your breath and have calm decisions.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
just that if anybody is ever like, you need to make a decision right now and drastically, don't.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
take a step back and breathe, because the answer will come and you actually know what's right for yourself.
You will, because your spirit knows all.
Yeah.
Your spirit heals all.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that's going to lead us into our next episode, which is all about breast cancer. So stay tuned for the next video. And if any of this resonated with you, go to the breast lift and reconstructive treatment in the library.
And just remember something before we get into the next part. There's only one answer for breast cancer, and that's you. Have a thought about that. Okay? Thank you for joining us.
Have a great day.
See you soon.
Welcome back, everyone, to the International Training Institute of Health Bodywork Masterclass. And what we're going to be showing in this show is we're going to show the breast lift. Now, the breast lift is more than it sounds. Yes, it is a natural breast lift. But would you like to get rid of the calcification that's in there? Would you like to get rid of the crystallization? Would you like to get rid of the scar tissue formation? Would you like us to get rid of the actual scar tissue that was created by surgery when you've had surgery in that area, which is the worst scar tissue you could ever put in the body, because it will spread like weeds and it will cause problems? And do your research and find out how much problem that women have after they get surgery that is right beside the scar: fibroids, tumors, or complications, okay? Because that scar is so like beef jerky, no flexibility, no circulation, so it will actually become a physical block, and that actually causes damage to the other tissue cells around it, cutting off the oxygen, cutting off the nutrition, cutting off the energy flow, the lymph flow, the blood flow, and then we're going to see some real changes happen. So if you've ever had surgery, you want to make sure that you have one of our therapists go in and remove the scar tissue from that knife, because a knife can create worse scar tissue than what you create in the human body. And understand something: inflammation causes all the disease that goes on in the body, and it is created on an emotional and physical level. And that inflammation creates all that internal scar tissue that ages you, that causes your breasts to age, that causes them to fall, that causes them to be in pain. All right? So let's talk about it.
All right. So with the breasts, they are very sensitive to outside environments. So they are a very emotional area. And with women especially, I mean, men have breasts too, but we're going to be working more with their pecs and their heart when we're working with men. And with women, our left breast is related to our family and our mother and our children, and then our right is related to our relationships. So,
And if I can say something, when you said that men have breasts too, but women's are much more sensitive, I don't remember anybody focusing on my breasts lately. And with women, all the focus is on their breasts.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's why.
yeah, exactly.
Where,
We've
you know,
created that.
Perception, focus, attention. Okay.
And even just the media being like, we have to protect them and hide them.
Oh yeah,
and
don't show them.
it's
Yeah,
sacred,
yeah,
and they are
exactly.
sacred.
Yeah.
They are meant to nourish your family or your children, and they are a sexual organ. So I understand, but at the same time, I think a lot
You
of
should be able to feel free with it.
Totally.
As well,
Oh
just
my
like
gosh,
any
there's
other
so many
man.
beliefs.
Yeah.
You know what? And I just say, mind your own business.
Exactly. So some emotional blocks in the breast can be, of course, we can have some emotional and hormonal changes. With our periods, our breasts can become more sensitive and things like that. But we can hold emotions such as depression, sadness, frustration, irritation, and anger in our breasts. And those can also be triggered from our mood swings that we get during our periods and things like that if our hormones aren't in balance by following the perfect day and doing the Braveheart 12 loving steps. So the major emotion behind breast lumps and breast cancer is hurt, guilt, sorrow, and unfinished emotional business related to nurturing. And then guilt over not being able to forgive others or oneself often blocks the breast's energy. And like I mentioned, left breast is related to children, childhood, fear of letting go of children, especially cases when a miscarriage occurred. And then, like we said, the right breast is romantic relationships. Emotions like regret and having a broken heart are energetically stored in this area of the body. And then some physical symptoms with the breast. We can get, of course, swelling of the breast, skin irritation or dimpling, pain, nipple pain, redness, scaliness, thickening of the nipple or breast skin. And then, of course, we can get things like fibrotic breast tissue, fibrocystic breasts, cysts, tumors, the list goes on. And that's what we're going to show you today, is how we can show the body how it can eliminate all of these problems on its own and heal.
Absolutely. And the other thing that we're not showing, but we showed you in the
The medical
and
cause
post-care.
video.
yeah, and we talked about the Avicin, we talked
Mhm.
about the Bioptron Light, the effect of those two things on the breast.
Mhm.
I mean, you might want to talk about that, Abby.
Amazing, absolutely
Yeah.
incredible. Because circulation is the most important thing for our bodies. We need to make sure our circulatory system is functioning properly. So the Avicin is going to boost our circulation by 66%, up to 66%, and that's going to obviously get everything moving in the breast. It's going to help with your lymph movement and just the blood flow, lymph flow, circulation, and oxygen flow to the area. The Bioptron light therapy, we can be using that anywhere on the whole body. You can shine it directly on the chest, and that's going to be, of course, infusing that area with that light energy, that polarized, full spectrum, fullerene light. And that, again, is going to help with increasing the circulation as well and putting the body into a parasympathetic state.
Beautiful. Couldn't have said it better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And should we get to the treatment?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay.
All right.
So let me find my place here. Okay, so with the breast treatment, of course, with every treatment, we want to get into the lion heart breathing, 6 seconds in, hold for 1 to 2 seconds at 0 point, and then release for 7 seconds. And therapist and client, patient both want to be doing that throughout the whole treatment.
Connected. You want to be connected together, and it will create more confidence and more security with the patient when you're connected and your flow is the same.
So we're going to start, and we're going to start, of course, on the origin. And the origin of the chest is, of course, the sternum. And we will start at the bottom at the xiphoid process. And we really start with a very light scaling, shaving technique and work up the sternum to the jugular notch. And you really want to be thorough when you're cleaning off the sternum.
Yeah.
You are going very slow, very precise, and you're cleaning out each little area within each rib because you have your intercostal cartilages and your intercostal ribs. So we want to get each origin point and each insertion point.
So
Okay.
understand, you will go lighter, and you'll be going
Vertically.
Up and down,
up and down,
left and right,
and
You're
then you'll
playing all
first
angles.
until you take it down a little bit, and then you'll be going into the ribs once you've opened that up and you've got that extra freedom to go work in there. And understand something. In the intercostals, right where the sternum is, you're going to want to really clean off the bone, because that would be your origin, and then out to the edge would be kind of your insertion. But you want to clean all along the intercostals.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So we work all the way up, and then we always want to go back to where we started from.
Very good.
And then, like Dr. Wolfe was mentioning, we're really going to come in and clean the costal cartilage. The costal cartilage are what attach your ribs to your sternum. So you have 12 costal cartilages from the clavicle all the way down to the
and they
floating rib.
crystallize, and they become fibro scar tissue, and that's why you can't get a breath. You feel like somebody's sitting on your chest. And so just by doing that, so you might be doing the actual breast lift, but you are doing the lung expansion.
Yes.
Okay.
Your breathing improves I can't even say.
Like tenfold.
I was going to say tenfold. Yeah. It's incredible. So after we do the costal cartilage, we're going to come up at the top and work on the collarbone. And we really want to release the collarbone first, because that's going to really loosen up the pec muscle and loosen up the breast tissue for us to be able to get in and release any of that fibrotic scar tissue.
And understand something. With every time that we work somewhere else, we're doing a different move. We have 6 different techniques that we use depending on the tissue, depending on the joint, and depending on the area. And that comes with training, and that comes with feel.
Totally.
Yeah. Okay.
Because it really depends. Like when we're working with the collarbone, we are going to be using that as a backboard, because we really want to open up the muscle fibers to allow the blood flow, lymph flow, and circulation to come in. So we utilize the body to help us get the results that we need. And then after we do that, we're going to come and work through the ribs. So I'll let Sage take her away.
So we're going to start with working with the intercostal muscles, and we're loosening up all that little bits of scar tissue and crystallization and calcium deposits that are linking that to the sternum. And then we're going to continue working through the ribs all the way down through the breast tissue, all the way down to the floating rib. And of course, you're not going to feel as much on the floating rib. It's very small, but we really want to try to get all the way down into that floating rib.
And down there, we might do a little bit of scaling technique, which I know you don't understand, but if you end up getting the therapy, or you come and take our courses, or get a personal treatment and training, then you'll understand.
Definitely.
So the scaling, and you'll be surprised. Just try to think of barnacles on a boat.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, all right?
That's exactly how it feels.
Yeah.
So after we're done coming all the way to the bottom of the floating rib, we come back up and we're going to release the horseshoes that are under both breasts. And this is just 2 really intense strips of beef jerky scar tissue. And it goes from the rib underneath the breast to the rib in the breast. So we really want to work from where the underwire sits, which is coming up onto the xiphoid process, and it comes all the way around, and the underwire sits usually right about here under the armpit. And when you get to that area under the armpit, you're going to find major padding from backed up lymph. So it feels like a fatty pad.
Yeah, and it can even feel like beef jerky,
and
it'll actually grow in through the ribs. I'm telling you, it'll grow through the ribs, and it'll mess up your breathing.
Totally.
Okay?
Yeah.
So, and that comes from wearing a bra.
Totally. And even will mess up your range of motion. Lifting up your arm above your head's going to be more difficult. You're going to feel a lot more pain and restriction in your movement. And just that padding under your armpit is just blocking your lymph from properly moving.
That's
and draining.
right. I couldn't have said it better. Underneath your arm, you're going to block the lymph. You block the lymph, and guess what you're going to have? Now you're going to get the lymph backing up into the breast when it's supposed to be detoxifying, and then you're going to get inflammation, and we're going to run down that whole gamut again. Scar tissue formation, and eventually calcification. And calcification, when you get calcium deposits in your breast, you need to understand something. That is a precancerous situation. And if you have gallstones, kidney stones, same thing. You wouldn't be pulling that much calcium if you weren't so acidic. So you're going to get that, and then you're going to get, after a while, all that physical block in here, more physical block, less circulation. Now we're going to head into mutation. So guess what? We can take this back. You can do it. And remember, these breasts are made out of fat tissue. So if you're highly toxic, your body says, why should we make more fat? We got 2 storage tanks up here.
Yeah.
So start using this and start thinking about your large intestine, okay? And your liver.
Yeah, totally. Because what happens is when we get a backup in the large intestine, the mother of all organs, it's seeping down into the pelvis. We have our ovaries, we have our entire reproductive system down there, which is, of course, directly connected to the breast. So it's like ringing the 2 bells.
That's right.
So really important to take care of your immune system first and foremost to make sure that we don't get any other conditions forming in other areas of the body. So basically, we've pretty much come full circle around the breast and worked the tissue all the way around. So now that the breast tissue is actually nice and loose to be able to work on directly onto the tissue. So we're going to come and work clockwise through the breast tissue and really working and opening all of that up, because it can get very fibrotic in there, very tough and tight. You're going to find crystallization, you're going to find displaced calcium. And when we can get in there with the different techniques that we use, getting in there with our pinpoint technique, everything just opens up so beautifully, and all of the energy, blood flow, lymph flow, and oxygen come into the area to create a really amazing healing effect.
And here's the thing. Did you hear what she says? We're going to go in and loosen things up. But as we're loosening things up, we're toning things up, because the reality is all the muscle tissue that's on the superficial is getting loose.
Yeah, it's getting pulled.
And deeper, you've got this fibrotic scar tissue, calcification, crystallization. We go deeper and we release that, then all the blood flow comes up. Then we can build more collagen, more elastin, and we get more tone into the breast. And I'll let Abby tell you why we call it a breast lift when she gets there.
Yeah, so when we're done working with the actual breast tissue and we feel we've thoroughly went through everything and everything's healthier tissue now, we would go in and do some other techniques that we have. So it involves some wringing of the breast to help drain out the toxins. We do some cupping techniques as well that help move everything along, and inchworming as well. So all of these are just helping to release any of those adhesions and to get the toxins draining and to flush them out with the lymphatic system. And honestly, after you do all of these things, the tissue is so like juicy and plump, I guess you could say. That's the perfect way to explain it. And your breasts literally are lifted. I've done one breast at a time just to take some before and after photos to see the difference. And literally the breast will be 2 inches higher and plumper and bigger and looks like a youthful, beautiful breast from when they were 20 years old. And some of these women are in their 40s and 50s and 60s.
And understand something too. So like when people come to us, we teach them a lot of different techniques, and we teach them padding and clapping. And those techniques we only teach to people who take our personal treatment and training, our clients or patients that come to us, or the actual people that come to get certified. And believe it or not, that's the most powerful therapy you'll ever do on yourself. And that reassures that all our work is never going to go to waste, and then you're going to become the master of that physical part or the whole body. And you'll be able to really bring back the microcirculation tone and the elasticity and be pain-free.
Yeah. And a couple other aftercare therapies that are really amazing for the breast are using frankincense essential oil for the breast is one of the most powerful essentials you can use. Orange in your drinking water. Applying...
and orange on the breast.
Yeah,
it's really good for the breast.
Yeah,
right?
I would just dilute it a little bit because sometimes it can be a bit more...
stingy.
Yeah, because it is a citrus. And then
castor oil packs.
Definitely.
Yeah, but even
amazing.
better, salt glows and skin brushing.
That's what I was going to get to. Dry skin brushing your breasts is so important because it's one of the best ways to move your lymph. So you really want to focus on working your whole breast area and draining it out into your armpits. And you would do the cocoa salt glow as well. And it's incredible what it does for transformation. A lot of clients that we have the padding and everything going on, and after you can hardly touch them too. It's so sensitive. So I'll always encourage them to do the dry skin brushing every day and the cocoa salt glow every day to really relax that tissue and to get that lymph moving. And after a week of them doing it, you're able to actually get in and get in there. It's not sensitive anymore.
And here's the biggest takeaway gift. From now on, when you go in the shower, You'll be doing your I love my breast massage, not I'm checking to see if I've got cancer massage and I've got another 24 hours of freedom. Because I'll tell you something, you're not free, you're enslaved, and don't let the system do that to you. I guarantee you what we're going to teach you is going to empower you, and you will be free, and you will break away from the system, and you will not need the system. And you will not need the system, okay? You will not need to rush to them and to be checked, because guess what? You know what? Let's not hope we're well. Let's know we're well.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay? All right.
Thank you so much for joining us for our breast lift and reconstructive treatment. And we will see you on the next one.
The next show.
Thanks
Have
for
the best
watching.
day of your life.